ladies and gentlemen. My name is Olapoji, the MD CEO of Exponential Growth International Limited. We are a strategic company and we're into trainings and seminars. It covers leadership, it covers wealth creation, it covers inspirational and motivational talk, and so many more. Anything that can give our audience success, that's what we are all after. And I want to thank Dr. Ide very much for the privilege he has given us to be here. I just knew him about a week or 2 weeks ago online, and I'm meeting him for the very first time, just like meeting you. I'm seeing beautiful faces here. I want to thank you for the privilege you give us to share a bit of ideas with you. I know that one way or the other, this discussion is going to add positively to the purpose and the vision of Rima Foundation. I've taken time to look at what you do, and I'm very glad when I came here, I was not disappointed while I was talking with him. Your organization is a knowledge-based organization, and you have huge opportunity in Nigeria. You have huge opportunity in Nigeria. So I will send this by email after this talk. I will have done what presentation, but because I was not aware that there is this thing here. But by the grace of God, we are looking at exploding your potential. Exploding your potential. That is what I'm here to discuss under 35-40 minutes. And I'll be looking at 4 basic areas. Number 1 is understanding your potentials. When I say understanding your potential, I'm talking of corporate potentials and personal potentials. Understanding your potentials. Secondly, we like to identify enemies of our potentials. They are enemies of our potentials. We identify them and how to overcome them. Thirdly, we look at releasing and exploding your potentials. Releasing and exploding your potentials. And that is the key area in this study. Then the 4th area is, I'll just give you like 10 quotes on potentials that will spur you to action, that will take you from the level of success you are right now to the next level, because there's always next level for everybody, either as organization or as individual. And I want to say something here before I proceed, that you don't actually know yourself as a person. What I say you don't know yourself is this: you know yourself, you know your name, you have all your biodata and all of that history. But what you are capable of accomplishing is beyond your imagination as a person, then as a corporate body. And that's why this afternoon I'm here to just share some things to spur those things to action. And I know when I say them, it also has a way of affecting us positively, because that's how it is in this world. It's a world of givers. When you give, it comes back to you bountifully. So what is the purpose of this talk? The purpose of this talk, I will tell you, there's a word called inertia. Inertia. And that inertia is found in every man, and is found in every organization, though at different degree and at different levels. So what is inertia? Inertia is the apathy most common to human beings. Apathy that is most common to human beings. It is inability or unwillingness to move or act. It is your inability or my inability or unwillingness to move or act in certain direction, that you know that, oh, this thing is an instinct, this thing seems to will be a pathway to greatness, maybe as an organization. So when you look at that word in physics, it is defined like this in physics, because that was where the word was come from. The inertia is the property or body by which it remains at rest or continues moving in a straight line unless acted upon by an external or directional force. That is, when a body assumes position of rest, just like this paper, just assume position of rest, that is inertia, until an external force act upon it, it will continue to be in that position of rest. So it happens to everybody, and it's enemy of greatness in the life of organization, in the life of a nation, and in the life of individual. So the property we talk about here is just like you or me or an organization. But the external force we talk about here sometimes could be act of God. Sometimes could be negative circumstances that is overwhelming. Maybe, for example, as an organization, you have a budget, financial budget that, by the end of the year, apart from the fact that you want to, as a foundation, you have non-naira and kobo objective. But ultimately also, you want to measure your result. You still need the yardstick of naira and kobo to see what have we done. Now, at the end of the day, if you record losses, I know your organization, from my background, will call it deficit, not surplus, not loss, deficit. So if you should record deficit, sometimes it's a negative circumstance that could be an external force to push you to do very well. Most of the time, if it is success, most of the time, success doesn't actually push you to do well, because the enemy of your greatness is the last success you have recorded, most of the time. But losses or deficit or failure sometimes could be an external force to act upon you as a body to move you forward. Sometimes it could be motivational talk and inspirational words like this that we're sharing together. But everybody needs external force to move us from position of inertia to in a direction where we'll be hardy to this world, be hardy. I will not be taken from it, because the pain in Africa I've seen, especially in Africa, is that there's an attitude of always want to take and not to give. I'm sorry to say, this study, let me just digress a bit. Each time I go to Felicia to buy fuel, sometimes I see some of these people that are trying to beg for money. So when I look at them from my rear glass, I look at it, I try to check the man up very well. Does he have two hands? Even if he has only one hand, does he have two legs? Even let's say he has one leg and one hand, he can still add to the economy, he can add to this world. But you see, that bad mentality of always want to collect is a problem. It's destroying potential. And most of the time I feel like pulling them aside, because most of the time I always ignore it, pull aside, pay my man. Most of the time I don't give them my money, because my money is God's money. I feel like pull aside, look, try to teach them something. Why are you like this? Someone that doesn't have two hands and two legs is all over the world doing something great. Why are you like this? You are even advantage. Some have their eyes, but sometimes they use some of this band to tell them, I'm sorry, some people that come from north, you think they are blind. They are not blind actually. But it's like they have conditioned so low that they are looking for what to take and not to give. I will encourage you this afternoon, create an attitude of trying to give something, add something. Even as a staff in an organization, I work as an employee for more than 10 years before I started things on my own. I know the attitude of an average employer. I give you 8 hours to give my salary, nothing more. Even out of those 8 hours, the days of social network and all of that, this social website and all of that, some people are resident, or those who they are resident, they are permanently resident. And of course, in accounting, you say those internet services, they are company's assets, tangible assets. You are hitting the company's assets, you are taking a salary, and you not even add it back. I want to say that it's an attitude we must create, it's an attitude of greatness, and that's very, very important. I got to know that a few years ago, and it has radically changed my life. I look for what to give and not to receive. Of course, if you're a Christian, the Bible says that blessed, more blessed to give than to receive. It's very, very practical. So we look at understanding your potentials. And when I'm talking of, because this is the platform of Rima Foundation. We are talking to a corporate organization. But I want to say this. What we call corporate organization is actually derived from individual. So we can say that we have personal incorporations coming together to form a corporate organization. For example, Dr. Yedeko is a personal, corporation, different from Rima Foundation. In fact, in law, they will describe a company as an entity. An entity, they are entity on their own. So when we are talking of individual and corporate, because you are the one that makes things happen, really. For doctor, you're not going to succeed in what he's doing in his vision. You are his helpers. And of course, vice versa. So understanding your potentials. I want to say at this point, when we talk of potential, everything starts from God. If you're a believer in God, it starts from God. There's a word called omnipotent. God is called omnipotent. Omnipotent, omni means all. Potent means potential. So when you call God omnipotent, you are saying he's God of all potentials. So this study starts from him. God of all potentials. And you see, God has potentials. Even with all his creativity, billions of stars. So sometimes when you see that, you begin to wonder about creation. You begin to you can't fathom it. How did God come about this creativity that we see? You can't actually fathom it. But even with that, he has potentials. He's God of all potentials. So we are on the right path. What is potential? Potential is your reserve strength or energy. Your potential is your reserve strength or energy. It is your untapped ability. Your untapped ability. It is your dormant ability that is yet to be activated. Your dormant ability that is yet to be activated. All what I'm talking about this afternoon, they are inside. All what I'm talking is just to open our eyes to it and to begin to explore what God has permanently and graciously given everyone. So, number 4 is your unused sources. If you look at Rima Foundation, you have unused sources, untapped resources that are available to you. Even as individual, you have unused sources, untapped ability that are in you. So, number 5, I will also define potential as everything you could do, but you have not yet done. Everything that you could do, but right now you are yet to do them. That's potential. For example, as a company, if you have the ability of reaching 2,000 people effectively per quarter, and you are doing 500 now, that 500 is not your potential. The 1,500 remaining is your potential that you are capable of doing what you are here to do. If you talk of balance sheet or your profit and loss, if you're supposed to have like net profit after tax, I know you don't do tax. You don't do tax, do you? Okay. Net profit. Maybe it's supposed to be like 20 M, and you do 10 M. To you, they look so good, but ultimately, your potential is in the remaining 10 million. You have not done. You see, everybody has potential. Then the last one here, what you are capable of becoming, but you are yet to become. What you are capable of becoming, but you are yet to become it. That is potential. This study is very, very dear to my heart, and for weeks I've not been able to really sleep well because it's like it keeps on burning in my heart. And we can't just let go. Say, okay, let's create something around it as a company and let's spread the word over time. I have a book coming out on how to identify your gift, develop and maximize it. I have what the thing, for instance, is going to come out, and I believe it's out of passion, not for money making. Just to get something to somebody's hand, and for us to look inward as a corporate body or as individual, and mix up the body and explore what God has already given us. So, I will look at the second area, enemies of your potential. Enemies of your potential. There's nobody that doesn't have enemy. Everybody has an enemy. Right from the day you are born, people start having enemy till the day that person dies. And I want to say something, as a matter of fact, a lot of people don't like criticism, especially negative criticism. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it. But I want to say here, I want to congratulate you if you have been criticized because you are doing something. People that are doing nothing are never criticized. But if you are doing something, I can tell you, you will criticize. Some will criticize you out of jealousy. Some will criticize you so that it can help bring out the best out of you. As a matter of fact, sometimes maybe relation between MD and employee sometimes, could go AY sometimes because the staff thinks that I'm not being appreciated. I can tell you some of those queries, some of those sometimes harsh words, some of those stressful sometimes, they are just like external forces trying to hack on you to bring out the best in you. One thing about leadership I want to say here is this: if it's somebody being hard on you, it's because that person has seen something that we are not seeing. In fact, potential sometimes is that thing you are not seeing that the person above you is seeing, and is pushing in that direction. Please just obey and follow, because at the end of the day, it's going to be glorious. You are going to benefit immensely from it. See, that's how it works. Now, I will only discuss 4 enemies of potential. Number 1 is fear. Fear. What is fear? Fear is to believe in the impossible. Fear is simply to believe in the impossible. For everybody that does anything worthwhile in this world, you ask them before this really put they try to test their leg to see, if I put my leg, will I not sink? And all of that. It takes them a lot of time, sometimes divine hacks, to really push them in that path, to say, start this thing. Sometimes, even entrepreneurs, some people don't know that even while they create business, they are helping to serve God, because whosoever help to put food on somebody else's table, one way or the other, you are helping to serve humanity one way or the other. When you serve humanity, you are serving God. And so many things. If you have seen something worthwhile in your life you have ever achieved before, look at it, check the history before you actually go to it. Something tells you, oh boy, it's not people like you. You cannot. Somebody define fear as the helplessness of the learned. Helplessness of the learned. That is, sometimes you even get to know too much that it brings fear into you. And it's like, look. As a matter of fact, I've listened to a lot of, talks about people that have terminal diseases. Sometimes what killed them is not the disease, actually, but it's the fear. It's the fear. So, fear is believing in the impossible. Is the enemy of potential. I can tell you that by the time we conclude this, you will have come to discover some new areas as an organization, some new areas in your personal life where you can help add to this organization and beyond. But you must expect that man called fear. It will always come and tell you, look, this is impossible. They will give you 101 reasons why you must not do this. It's always like attacking everybody. But one thing is, immediately you know your enemy, you are prepared to deal with that enemy. How do you deal with fear? It's very simple. It's to make sure that you stay around people that are very positive. If you are a Christian, let Bible be part of your life every day. It gives you confidence. It gives you hope in the midst of hopelessness. It gives you courage. One thing is everybody has power that God has given us, either to select your friends or to deselect them. Some friends are not good for you, for your purpose and vision. When they come, their words drive fear. Words is like a vehicle for fear. It drives fear into you. Try to share your vision and dreams with them. It will become impossible because they are negative people, and you must be on watch out. These are the avenues by which fear comes. Through negative friends, negative environment, even materials we buy with our own money. Sometimes it brings fear to us. Some of these Nollywood films, they are acted. They are not real. So when you continue to watch it, sometimes it forms, gives you a mentality that before you can do this thing, you have to fail, and you may fail and not even succeed. All those stuff. You have to watch out for that enemy, and you can overcome it by controlling what comes to this place, what comes to mind. Another enemy that's very important we need to watch out for is comparison with others. Comparison with others. This is very important. Every one of us, we have a tendency of comparing ourselves with others. At least, for example, as an organization, you can say a Rima Foundation, Dr. David can just say, look at where it started from, and look at another organization, maybe that does something similar or outside this industry. the same time, and now begin to benchmark. Maybe in his mind, benchmark, okay, we thank God we are even successful. Or, in the course of doing that, you remember that there are some other ones that have overtaken you. Wow. Sometimes you want to feel sad. Or maybe as an individual, sometimes you go out and you see that when God has blessed you with a car, this one small can you. Later you now meet one guy that used to be in your class in university in those days, that was not even brilliant, that was backbencher in the class. Now, he's using a big car. You know, and when some people see you, they intimidate you with a lot of things and you come back depressed and all of that. There's no point in comparing ourselves with anybody. In fact, the only person you should compare yourself with is you. When you compare yourself with others, you get into rat race. You get into rat race. Rat race is unnecessary race, unnecessary competition. I will tell you some of these things. If you look at strategy, because I deal in strategies too, sometimes you may say, "What this man is talking? What are you talking about?" In strategy, we need to benchmark. We need to do this and do that and see. But the best form of competition is to compete against yourself. What do I mean? He says, there's a possibility that you see some people you are more successful than, and you now stay where you are, thinking that you have maximized all the abilities, all the potentials you have. There's a possibility that you look at some other people and you feel depressed. But one thing is that if you are truthful to yourself, you will look inward. What is the ability that God has given me? What is the opportunity that God has presented to us? Then that's what we need to work at, and making sure that we maximize everything He has given us. And that's very important. When we do that, there's no point for jealous. You can't jealous your colleagues in the office. You can't jealous anybody, because you are only competing against yourself, against what God has put into you. Number 3, enemy of potential is wrong association. Wrong association. If you're a Christian here, the Bible says, walk with the wise, you'll be wise. If you're a companion of fool, so you will be beaten with many stripes. I will explain this. Wrong association. At each point in time in our life, we have people in your own small world. Sometimes wife, husband, children, friends, relatives, colleagues in the office, business colleagues, so many people in our world. But check it very well. If you are associating with wrong people, you are going nowhere. We never get anywhere. And this is very important. There are different five kind of people you always meet in life. I will tell you about them. The first kind of person is refresher. The people we call refresher. They will help inspire your dreams and energize your talents. Refreshers will help inspire the dream you already have, and they will energize your talents. That's kind of one kind of people you can meet in life. Another kind of person you can meet, we call them refiners. They will help sharpen your ideas and clarify your vision. When you put your idea on the table, then they help clarify it, separate the ones that are not needed, and bring the substance on the table and sharpen it. That is their work. You must look out for such people to associate with them. Another type of person you can meet is who I call reflector. Reflectors will only mirror your energy. They will mirror your energy. They will not add to you, they will not subtract from you. They will just look at your energy. When you share something with them, they shake their head. They laugh. That's all. They are not needed in your life. They are only reflectors. The fourth kind of persons you can meet is the people I call reducers. 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 They try to reduce your vision and efforts to their comfort level. They try to reduce your vision and effort to their comfort level. You know, sometimes in leadership, this happens sometimes. You are bubbling with energy because of the vision you have. And probably somebody is saying, come and be my assistant or work for me. Sometimes you share the vision, this is what we need to do. Say, oh God, do you think that is impossible? You know, the way they do it, they want to, all your, what I would call all your energy, pour cold water on it, and help you reduce your energy, reduce the dream and vision to their comfortable level. You must watch out for it in leadership. You must watch out for it for some people. They are not needed in your life. It's a wrong association. The last kind of person you will always meet, I call them rejectors. These people, they will deny your talent. They will hinder your efforts and impede your vision. I think again, they will deny your talent. When you are trying to, what do you do? Please go and see that. They are rejectors. They don't even want you to make any progress at all. Watch out for those people. They are not needed in your life. So wrong association you must watch out is a big enemy of potential, either for a business or for a dream that you are not even share with anybody. Sometimes some dreams, they are killed before birth. As you as you have conceived it, and it may be on your job, you know how to make it bigger and better and how to have, because every staff must have something positive. Even beyond the job description is just something that to put us in check and to define areas of operation. But for someone that will do beyond that and that will do well, can sit down and do beyond JD, job description. Say, how do I help add to this organization? How do I possibly impact? But I can tell you, if you don't have the right kind of persons around you, share something with them, they will kill it before it is given birth to. It's very important that you watch out people you associate with, so that they will not kill the potentials that God has placed within you. The last enemy of potential that we discuss in this class is tradition. Tradition. What is tradition? Tradition is knowing what to do, how to do it, and get the usual result without any extra effort. Tradition again is knowing what to do, how to do it, and getting the usual result without any extra effort. Now, when you look around, sometimes organizations, governments, even churches sometimes, companies sometimes, we have traditions. Traditions are proven methods. They are very good. But when it comes to exploding your potential, traditions sometimes it must be kept at the back burner. Why? Because let me take the example of process. Process with an organization, a big organization, because I do process for companies. No, if you do this, they tell you this, how to go and do how to go. Well, it is good, but sometimes it is even anti-progress for some organizations. I've been in different scenarios before that instead of process to become a blessing, it's a curse to the organization. You see, tradition, when you are too traditional in approach, I thank God for the vision of it, because I have to sit and study what you do as a company. I realize that, this kind of company, you are trying to, if I get the vision right, trying to see how people can be able to keep more record, maybe and access it better than the way maybe digitalizes or something like that. What we have been used over the years is to go and get maybe 6x6 cupboard and keep all the files there. My background is in accounting. At least if you have used it for 2 years, pack it, take all the documents to the MD's home. And in the next 3 or 4 years, government is asking for something. They say we don't have the paper again. And you begin to pay huge money for not keeping records and all of that. You see, that is moving away from tradition. And I can tell you, if you try to fight against tradition, there are a lot of obstacles, because human being has inertia. Nobody wants to change. It's difficult. People are comfortable with what they do. I can tell you, if you really want to maximize potential, I see that sometimes when there's so much tradition, you feel restless. Why can't we get things done other ways? For example, you could be in church, for example. I'm a pastor by God's grace, but sometimes, say come to church and get to say, okay, it has to be worship night, it has to be praises and all of that. It's like all over the years. You see, who gave us that method? You understand? Say, that's how it's supposed to be. You can find a better way of arranging your program to meet the needs of the kind of audience God has given you. Tradition is enemy of potential, as good as it is. It doesn't help anybody to achieve something extra. You always achieve the usuals, not extra. So tradition fights. And when you look at our schools, most of the time you have a traditional syllabus, curriculum, traditional lecturers and teachers that will ultimately produce traditional graduates that will come to the labor market and have traditional approach. Their CV is almost traditional. If you watch CV, if you are into recruitment, I used to recruitment almost the way it used to be. And when you look at, there's a portion here, especially if the person is looking for a job for the first time, they will say, there's a word they used to say, I can work under pressure. See, I can work under pressure. I will tell you that if you see pressure, you go wrong. Traditional. And we need to watch out for this. They are enemies of potentials. If you want to really release your energy and explode it, you must be revolutionary in your mind and your approach. I tell you that you must be revolutionary in your mind and your approach to things. Sometimes everything will not even agree with you, but over time, because most of my job I work with MDs, I realize that they are very intelligent people. They are very, very intelligent people. MDs are very, very intelligent. I can tell you that. Very, very intelligent. My primary day and of auditing, strategy, and all of that, I work with them. They are very, let MD has only one staff. As long as MD is very, very intelligent. So, sometimes he may not even agree with what you are saying. But I can tell you, over time, give it some time. If it is revolutionary, it will come to get it. And your company may never be the same again. You can move to the next level. But tradition, we must fight against tradition. It kills potential. It doesn't allow a company or individual to really maximize what they have in them. So, I'll be able to discuss 4 enemies of potentials this afternoon. I mentioned fear, comparison with others, wrong association. Of course, 5 kind of people you should expect will always come your way. Then I mentioned tradition. The third area, which is the main purpose of being here, is how do you release and explode your potentials? How do you release and explode your potentials? I like the word explode. You know, explosion. Of course, even without looking into dictionary, with all the social problems we have, especially in the north, the explosion is somewhere that is easy. But we are talking in the positive sense now, not to destroy people, but to make people to have impact, explode. Sometimes, one day I sat down, I reviewed the history of Hitler, Adolf Hitler. He was a negative person, negative impact, but sometimes I try to look at what was the force behind somebody. Do you know that Hitler was just an ordinary sergeant in the army? He was in the World War I. He was a very brave soldier. When he came back, he said that he's supposed to decorate him. He was not decorated. Probably they have seen the tendencies for such rebellion in him. The Second World War, he went, nothing. Now, the guy now said, look, I will drop out. He went to politics. And he fought right from zero. He fought till he reached the top. And not only that, he caused world war. You know, just a tiny, he was a short man. When you look at a short man. So his impact was very negative. I was trying to look at what was behind this man, what was behind his explosion of that energy, even though negative. And I realized that he was very purposeful. He had to teach himself how to be an orator, to speak in the public. And he became something that's even though very negative. But I believe God has given everybody the whole head to operate. So you can do well beyond your real imagination. So, how do we explore our potentials? I have 5 here. Number 1, this is very important. Of course, I know this is not a church, but I will mention this. But the spiritual aspect is very important. Now, how do you know if something goes wrong with this laptop? What do? I don't have the knowledge of. I just use it. I benefit from using it. I don't know how the operating system was put together. I don't know anything. The best I can do, if I troubleshoot and I couldn't get it, take it to HP. We have the experts there that knew the concept, everything about this computer, and they will get it repaired for me. The same thing with our God is the beginning of potentials. Either as a management, as a leader of the company, or as a staff, each time we go back to God, look, God, what else do we do? Where do we have potentials? What is the main? It took me a long time. Personally, as a person, I'm a well reserved person by nature. Maybe you say introvert. I don't like to play talk. I don't. And of course, there are some discipline that it's only introvert that can prosper there. For example, like counting. You need to be introvert. You need to be able to stay long at computers. Even for people that do into computing work, maybe software, you must be, you must, because I knew about software a bit, to be able to pass, to passive, to stay. Extrovert cannot think, I don't think they can do such work. But over time, I needed to really ask and find out where is my main purpose and potential. I realized that it's about communicating. It will have been the last year I would have loved to do, be talking to people. But I realized that I got to know that when I spoke to the manufacturer, I spoke to the people. So sometimes we need to, first of all, either business. Sometimes we think that God wants us to prosper, even business. We think it doesn't concern God, it concerns God. Our well-being, because we didn't just appear. I won't just disappear. Everyone came for a purpose. As a matter of fact, if about 4 million sperm were fighting just because of one egg, and you are the only one that fertilized that egg, it must have been with purpose. It must have been with purpose. It was not a mistake. It was not accident. There is no bastard. You say it's a bastard. Well, we are the one because of wrong arrangement. But there is no bastard. Everybody has come for a purpose. So sometimes we need to ask him, if my car is bad, I take the mechanic to fix. I don't know anything about it. So it's very important. And I want to say this, that God will never judge us for what he has not given us. He will judge you for the seed he has put in you. That's what he will do. So what he has not given you, he won't be asking you, why have you not used it? No, it's what he has given. So better ask him and ask him, God, how do we get to do this? But the second one that's also important is to have a goal. To have a goal. I want to say this. When you look at every organization, they have mission and vision. You see, but you also see traditional approach in that. Sometimes the vision is so long, the mission is so long that you can't look for 2 words, 1 or 2 words to be able to capture it effectively. It's too long. For example, if you have the vision and I ask my sister here, what's the vision? You may need to pull out a note to find out, because it's long for you to be able to pronounce it. But what I'm saying is that every person must have a goal. Simple enough, maybe 1 or 2 words to be able to explain it. Well, this is my goal. You will say, impact, knowledge is enough. You will say, so many phrases like that you can use to describe your goal. But if you are working without a goal, I'm telling you, that person can never release potential. You will just be traditional. Come in by 9, close by 5. Come in by 9, close by 5. By Saturday, don't come to work. Sunday, go to church. Monday, endless cycle. I want to say this. How do you know a person that doesn't have goal? Is when he wakes up early in the morning. He's not enthusiastic about life. Some will say, oh, why did I wake up? They don't really like that they even woke up at all, as if they just hang there to come again. When you wake up and you're enthusiastic, I thank God that you're not even looking at whether you have money or not have money. I thank God that I'm just alive. It must have been that you have a goal and purpose. What gives you inner drive is goal and purpose. Goal and purpose. And it's very important. Is it just like the way Rima Foundation has a mission and go somewhere? Everybody must also have it. One day, when I recognize, one day I pull out my note and I wrote down my vision. What my life is all about. I wrote it down somewhere. And I can't forget that day. Each time I want to reflect and remember my goals and vision. I said in that, maybe I was just sharing, I said in that, I said, okay, I want to be able to reach 10 million people for Christ, 1 million individually, but 10 million massively. Then apart from that, I want to be able to bring positive impact, changes in society. I wrote down several things, and since that time, that has become my charter. That's become my goal. Everybody must have a goal. To say, I want to earn salary every month, it's not the goal. It's not the goal. That's not the goal. That's survivor. That's survivor. So that goal must be there. Then number 3 is this. Learn, and learn. Learn, and learn. What do I mean is this? Companies must invest in their people, human capital. The purpose of maybe creating house training, external training, creating a library for a company and all of that, they are not even, these are investments. If in accounting, we capture them as investment. It's an asset. So there must be learning, and learning. And every company must have a development program to develop. In fact, I saw it some times ago that leadership is not about managing people. You don't manage people, you improve people. You improve them. You can only manage assets, physical assets. Vehicle, you manage it. Don't buy 2,000 fuel, buy 1,000 naira fuel, all those things. Manage it. Don't go far, go. You know all those stuff, manage them. Why do you put on AC for 24 hours? Why do you want to burn all the fuel in the generator? These are management. When it comes to human being, we improve them. We only improve them by knowledge. It's very important. But much more than that, also individual must take personal responsibility for his or her life. They need to develop this mind. I need to develop. And one thing about, there's a book I did about how to start business, creative, I call it creativity works. There's one note I put there about Bill Gates. I captured one story there. When he left school, he said he wanted to think. And the mother was asking, one time the mother realized that he was always in the secluded area of the house. He said, why are you always quiet? He said, mother, don't you think? So thinking, he was always thinking until that great product came out of his thinking. Thinking and developing this mind is very, very important. You see, let them gather 5 people and give them 1 million naira. It doesn't solve their poverty problem. If their mind is not first of all changed, it won't solve it. Let's say you can. Somebody said that I don't motivate my staffs. He said I recruit self-motivated people. This is what he said. It means that big salary can only arouse some feelings of excitement just over 1 or 2 months, and everything even out. Is no more motivated. It's very important. Get motivated. Learn, and learn. Have a learning program. You can develop one for yourself. You can buy development program. You can buy it. You can get mentorship. Learn, and unlearn. I'm sorry, learn, and unlearn. You can also unlearn some things. As you're learning something new, some things you won't learn. But this is not money then in my life for the next level. It's very important. So, the fourth one, second to the last, is work, and work. Now, I want to quickly say something here because I know I have a few minutes left. Sometimes, our perception to work has to change. Sometimes when you have somebody, they are just sluggish in the morning, especially Monday morning, people are sluggish to go to office. They are sluggish to go to work. You know, this work self. Work is very important. In fact, we are created to work. We are created to work. And until our perception change about work, we never explore all the potentials we have. Work is sweet and work is good. It doesn't damage you, it improves you. It makes you a better person. And immediately you see the job description, your area of influence within the office as your own personal incorporation. Just like the way you, Dr. Yedoko is an MD, I'm also an MD in this area. Then you put in all that you need to put in to get out of it. It's very important. Work is good. It doesn't kill. I've seen sometimes that I have to do client work, I have to spend 10 hours at the computer just at a go. 10 hours. I do that often. Why? Because I want to exchange with value. But the issue is this: if you don't enjoy it, you can't just stay 10 hours, you can't say work. So work is good. It doesn't kill anybody. It doesn't kill anybody. That perception, we must change it. If you don't change it, you can't really make any impact anywhere you are. It's very important. Don't gauge your work with what you collect. Sometimes say, how much is the man paying me? Let me see. That person will not go far. Will not go far. You won't explore. You won't explore. The last one is not the least. You must be hungry for success. You must be hungry for success. You must be hungry for success. I'm telling you, this is very critical. It's the driving force. If you're not hungry, you can't do anything tangible in life. You can't have success. That hunger makes you to do what others are not willing to do. It can even make you to offer your services free of charge just because you are hungry. You are hungry. You are hungry. People that are hungry are willing to do what others won't do in order to have tomorrow what others will never have. Those that are hungry are willing to do what others will never do, so that tomorrow they can have what others will never have. You must be very hungry. How do you create hunger? You go to seminar, you read, you get testimony, you hear about people that are doing well. I like biographies and autobiographies of successful people. It spurs me into action. I'm inspired that if this tiny man that started from somewhere, nowhere, got to this place, I think I can also do it. It's very important. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. So, I've mentioned 5 areas by which you can explode your potentials. As the manufacturer, you must have a goal. Learn, and learn. Work, and work, and be very, very hungry for success. I will leave you with these closing words. They are very important. God's gift to you is you, but your gift to God is to develop your potentials. God has not given you gift of life. That is his gift to you. He has given you seed of greatness as a company. That seed is contained in the dream and idea behind creating this organization. Your gift back to God is to develop all the seed, all the untapped sources, ability, reserve energy. That's all your gift to God. Don't steal from life. Add to it by developing and deploying your potentials. People are stealing. Some people are stealing from life. People are stealing from life. People are just social welfare. They are not giving anything back. Anywhere you are, try to give something. Don't steal from life. Do not add to the wealth of the grave. Die empty. What do I mean? A lot of people are dying today with visions and dreams in their heart. They just die. They added to the wealth of the grave. Don't join them. Try to die empty. The enemy of your potential is the last success you had. The last project that was successful. That's the enemy of the next level. Watch out. Watch out. You must become a servant to your gift and potential. What I mean is this: if you are not a servant to your gift, you can sleep 7 to 7. Nothing is pursuing you. But when you become a servant to your gift, when others are sleeping, sometimes you wake up. It's as something is just pursuing you. You know, you can't do what you want to do. It's like you have become a servant to that vision. When you are in the toilet, there's something, maybe a book or something in your hand, you are just trying to, even the toilet. You are maximizing every opportunity. Inside Hold Up, you maximize. I listen to audio inside Hold Up these days. I have turned it to seminar hall because I need to maximize my time. You become a servant. I become a servant to my gift. It's very important. Then, the best form of revenge is to have a massive success. The best form of revenge. Some people, they will look at you when you are trying to start this again. Where will they go? And they will soon be tired. You know, but the best form of revenge is not to talk about, but massive success. So let's ask many friends. Failure is an orphan. So it's very important that we say this. Then, if you do what is easy, your life will be very hard. If you like what is easy, it will be hard. But if you like to do what is hard, your life will be easy. I've tested that in my life. That's how it is. If you like to do what is easy, it's going to be hard at the end of the day. But if you do what is hard, it's going to be very easy. Somebody's opinion does not have to become your reality. It's very important. This kills the potential. You can't do it, job. You can't do it. Maybe you try to write a book. What kind of book has he written? All those criticisms, they kill potential. But it doesn't have to become your reality. You can become the best. You can become bestseller. In the next few months or weeks or years, just persist in doing it. It's very important. The last one, and not the least, motivation gets you going, but attitude gets you there. After I said and done this afternoon, motivation will spoil you, but attitude will get you there. You need to develop positive mindset and positive attitude to life. See to the heights of God. Positive attitude to life. And you will succeed. As a company, my prayer is that you're going to succeed. All the vision God has given you, it will come to pass. And as a person, you will reach your potential and maximize it in Jesus' name. God bless you. Thank you.